education no kura ba ye ne yente ase nkura na iko suku a enema a wo mo giye kura no enka free education no kura entwam enema a wo mo twere de ba ye de ma om na de be free education enso MPP kese nyina ya Asante region wan fa ya anye hwe enna ye kura ye kuma wudufo no that man John Mahama teso no ye mpepa bia no osan ma ye kwaji asop money no osan 2 enti sank what so anka ba ko aka no ko osan ye den emaye papa ne ba ye no ba ko no ya bona pese obesan amaye na sika kese wo se yen saka fura ben mu no yen saka no ekufu ado ba ye no wan san amaye enti e pese na John Mahama ba no obesan amaye.
All right, yancha honkra yansha se abusuya. Still on the Niger Kosu or Burkina Faso ni Niger monia the military takeovers aye koso no. Kwesi Prat edin sembia to dwa nyansa wompa anti no me pese me di kan mi play na ye nyina yetie na se wi a ya toaso every honum tie eye ensemo a Kwesi Prat ede atodwa yenko.
They go and make Tinubu, they are not even patient enough to wait for the outcome of the petition before the court. They go and make him their chairman. And then they turn around and tell us that, oh, as for them, they love democracy. What kind of democracy do they love? In any case, who is going to benefit from military intervention in Niger? It's the West. If you take France, 1 out of every 3 light bulbs is powered by uranium from Niger. 1 out of every 3 light bulbs is powered by uranium from Niger. And yet, Niger is one of the poorest countries in the world. And our leaders are not thinking about this paradox. You understand? What they care about is going to install one of their colleagues who messed up so much. You understand? That's what they care about. If you take all of the French-speaking African states, all of them keep their foreign reserves in the Central Bank of France. The consequence is that these African countries borrow their own money and pay interest on their own money that they have borrowed. And West African leaders are not sensible enough to realize that the way out of this is to have a common currency for West Africa, which enables these French-speaking countries to break away from French neocolonialism. They are not even sensible to realize that that is the key to solving many of the economic problems which confront us in the sub-region. They can't see that. We've been talking about West African currency for how long? What have they done in order to promote that? And then they go and sit somewhere in Abuja and they decide that they are going to send soldiers. Whose children should go and die? To install a useless president. Whose children should go and die? You think that the soldiers, they are just there to die for any useless cause? They are not. They should try it. They should try it and send soldiers there. When the soldiers get killed, they will see the repercussions in their own countries. It has happened many times, the ripple effect. Why? All of these West African leaders who are meeting to make these declarations and so on, how many of them enjoy the popularity that these coup leaders enjoy? This young guy who recently returned from the Russia-Africa summit, you saw how the whole country mobilized to go and meet him at the airport. Let any of these West African leaders, Tinubu, Alassane Ouattara and so on, try to mobilize people to show support and see how many people will turn up. When ECOWAS sent a delegation to Mali to go and persuade the Malians to hand over, did they see the hundreds of thousands of people who poured out into the street in support of their regimes? Did they see it? How many of these West African leaders enjoy 10% of the popularity that these coup leaders enjoy? That must teach them a lesson. In any case, what is this democracy we are supposed to be protecting? What is this democracy we are supposed to be protecting? Who doesn't know that in West Africa, elections do not reflect the will of the people? Elections have become a joke. Vote buying is rampant. The use of violence in order to win elections is overwhelming. The things we do in West Africa, are these the democratic elections? They should stop wasting our time. What we do in West Africa is that the last election, how many people died? Nobody has even bothered to investigate how those people died. And they call this democracy. Ayawasu West Rogon. I met the victims of the Ayawasu West Rogon. Some have lost their legs. Some have lost their eyes. Some have been disabled for life. Not one person has been punished for what happened in the Ayawasu West Rogon. And then you turn around and say we are running a democracy. What democracy? My brother.
Thank you. I say what democracy? I was here for tell my educate Michiao, mommy Michiao for Jesse Daniels Michiao Kwabna Kwadu Mehon why be yes I was here message Semunya Basso and more like in a moon shares and a bit Jumedi a bit me acronym is as simple as that. Share. It's about time why I was say young black people you see dear. The brainwash in Africa are too much. The African child is programmed not to learn or know Kasani history, but to learn somebody's history. Intino, South Africa, we know about Queen Elizabeth, Alexander the Great, and why, but our own African heroes, we know almost nothing about them. Mame mauntia say, near air coso Niger no enye coup d'etat a democracy. Listen to me carefully, Gifty. Near air coso, ewa Burkina Faso, Niger monia deno enye coup d'etat a democracy. Because broni ba Africa, edi ni democracy ebre yen, edi ba asem na broni kachiremo. Broni kachiremo say, democracy is the rule of the people, by the people, and of the people. What you say pa? Ena near akoso ewo eye Niger no the majority of the people na asori say yem pesa nkwase aban we biem enti so dwe ho kwachira democracy. Because only some few people na asori you, the whole nation and asori say this president na your friend Bazoum no or your puppet leader yem penu biem. French no, they have been exploiting Niger for a very long time. Enough is enough. The people have woken up. Etinia AC or Niger no me say a democracy because the people have realized their mistake and the people are fighting for what they deserve. ECOWAS meeting. Emma Niger junta leaders no 1 week ultimatum say if they fail to reinstate Bazoum, they are going to unleash hell on Niger. And then me kai ECOWAS Tinubu ne Ekufuado money ade say sa 1 week ultimatum na omo de man Niger for no ends today. What are they going to do? Tina me ka show ni me mwati ase say sa 1 week ultimatum na omo de man the junta leaders ewo Niger no ends today. What are they going to do? They should send military people into Niger and they'll see fire. Africans are waking up. Africa must wake up. Africa must come to the table, understand the fact they say the Western world, more Africa and more Africa, China. Messi Minuya, Madam Toma, Uko Niger, Areho Bo. Or Maya, a supply a uranium. Emma France for or Maya a supply uranium for so many years in the Eboa Emma French for Eda Kaniamu Sao Chrono about 80% of them any Kania. T Moa ya Munsia dia Monti Biasa ya Kasana Mudi atem and a Western world na and a Diana Omunya Shani at the Massa Africa ka akechire apart from Yakasa ye Jimmy no Western world play a key role in why Africa is where we are today. Because, like I'm saying, Omaya I supply uranium for so many years in Ama enam so anti France for Eda Kania Musaf Chrono about 80% of them any Kania access to power. Omu akwanye, omu sonye, omu duane omu nsa say, bianye and French troops, American troops are there. Ask yourself, what are they doing there? Me say, near AC or Africa no, me say tie. No country in Africa, president, a puppet, they will be left out. A ripple effect. It will affect everybody. I shall say free for Guinea. A free Guinea, and a Eba Mali. A free Mali, Burkina Faso, say Niger, and breaking news. Congo, they are now saying, they no longer want the UN troops in Congo. Because do you know what they do in Congo? We are Congo for their diamonds and their resources. They are not there to restore peace. They are not there to make sure they are progressive. They are not there to make sure the country is flourishing. They are there to steal their diamonds, to go and enrich themselves in their countries. In one of the interviews, Bazoum, the ousted leader of Niger, Ekansembi, Oka say the terrorists in Niger are French for any American for Abba Hose, they are there to fight them or no. Say BBC, na say Osuma na soldier for say Omonko emphasis our terrorists na. Now America for the French for Africa say, do not do that, don't dare. Because if you dare go and fight them, we are equally going to fight back. So what does it tell you? It tells you and I say, the terrorists in those countries, are being sponsored by these same Americans and the French and the West. It's about time Africa will learn sense. Look at this Mohamed Bazoum, Burkina Faso, Emra will free Russia, Ebaye. Look at the number of people who are at the airport. Some say why dictator. Most say why a military leader. Most say the people don't want them. Emra Okoshia Putin, Russia-Africa Summit. Obaye, back to Burkina. Look at the number of people who are at Ekoshiano airport. Not even a Kufuado, your so-called democratically elected president, can pull such crowd. Not even Tinubu. There is no democratic person in Africa obey me a pull such crowd. As a young boy of 35 years, a pull here. It tells you, say, near ACN, Ibrahim, thank you. It tells you, say, near ACN, me say, a democracy. The people have woken up, and that is what democracy means. Say, we don't want you again. Get out. Omani ayedia. E krono eye na yedia. And ye say, ye di krone share wonsa e na ye krona ye say, baby a wudi e krone kon yempe into sorry. This is democracy. Mame mauntias ye say, the kind of military coups are abrofono e yusu ye di tu Kwame Nkrumah mo ade so no. Enye ebi na ekoso no. Sambre no abrofo de no omo yusu de yi eye empanimfo a esiesie Africa empanimfo a ema Africa etumpon. They did the same thing to Muammar al-Gaddafi. Kwame Nkrumah mo ni ade nyina no abrofo Thomas Sankara abrofo no e na e yusu military coup e de tu sankofo no but nia ACN no eye different. Nia ACN no eye say the people are waking up say empanimfo a emuama Africa entumpon ye tu omo ade so. Say, empanimfo a omo ayom ho Western Pulpeta and nam omo sunti no Africa ni ye kuro entimi tumpo no ye to sam panimfo na ade so. Eti nia ACN no e different from nia esi over 60 years ago. 70 years ago different. Abrofo ne dia no omo di mowu e di tum panimfo a they have your good intentions at heart. Because nia na Kwame Nkrumah ye no me say Sekaye Jaima Kwame Nkrumah enyabe 20 years ka Kwame Nkrumah o lay a very solid foundation in Ghana. By san say abrofo ne penny santi omo yusu NPP ekufo de nko 42 eye Kwame Nkrumah de so. Eno na enam so a Ghana ehya asese e crash. Nanso ene nia esi onije Burkina money ade no eye the people's will. Kwame Nkrumah de no, it wasn't the people's will. The people were brainwashed and lied to. It was the interest of the whites. Enunti ena emra Kwame Nkrumah yetuna de so no. The Western world were quick to praise the coup plotters, saying they side with the coup plotters because Kwame Nkrumah was not doing their bidding. But near Esiwa Niger no Abrofono, the Western world, no, they have issued a statement. Like I said, they don't support the coup. Why? Because Bazoum Munana Oyeman Penino was doing the bidding of the West. Eti, you guys have to get the whole picture clear. You guys have to understand something, understand what is happening. Say, near NCNO is the will of the people. So ECOWAS must not use force. Me say, Mema Nigeria man penny ECOWAS for ATIACSA. Should they decide to send troops to Niger, that will be the beginning of a bigger uprising. Yanshe ya ibetu Ekufuado, etu Tinubu, etu other presidents in West Africa. Should they dare send troops to Niger, this is what will happen. Because the people are angry. Ask yourself, almost omunimyansa, afraid themselves ECOWAS in California there. Why don't they sit down first to ask themselves, a DNT na coup AC or West Africa too much, sir? Because this is how we solve problem. If you want to solve a problem, you must first of all analyze the cause of that problem. Okay, Burkina Faso esi, Mali esi, Niger esi, Guinea esi, then you begin to solve the problem from there. Sending military people into Niger will not solve the problem. Because uchan fin ebesa fife. Emra French for Eku Thomas Sankara, they thought to say they were solving the problem. They thought to say Yaku Sankara everything has been solved. Today they have a new Sankara to battle. Why? Because they didn't solve the problem. At their problem, they did not help the people of Burkina to grow, to thrive, to develop. And only problem or no, because and DNT na almost sorry and the French sentiments blow across Africa is because the French are here. They have been extorting Africa for so many years. It is Amrena Omutu Thomas Sankara. No, they should have solved the problem of trying to help Africans to develop, Francophone Africa to develop, to relieve them of those colonial taxes that they have imposed on them, to let them thrive, to let them grow, to let them develop, to let them see the value in their resources. Our resources and benefiting the people and not foreigners. So I'm sending this message across to ECOWAS to say, someone sorry. And looking at the root cause of this problem, I may say, Ekufuado he will be the next. Tinubu he will be the next. West Africa and Peninfo though, each and every one of them will go because they are failing to tackle the issue from the roots. Winifred Azumechiao. Ishmael Smith Abanso Michiao say big ups brother Medasibibri and Razak IB say ECOWAS are nothing to the good people of rather the bounce of yes. Now, near Nigeria for say almost the ECOWAS troops Niger. Do you know why? Because they are afraid. Almost say number one, they are afraid. Say bibia sad the beto so ma yanshe ya one day Ghana for better sorry no na yetu Ekufuado. Yetu Tinubu, yetu other so-called democratic leaders in West Africa. Number two, they are being asked to do so by the French and the Americans. Because the French, they have issued a statement to say they have interest in West Africa, they have interest in Niger, and they are never ever going to leave. Now, you African, you ask yourself, why must a foreign country have interest in your country? Rash Rampa. African, these are the questions you must ask yourself. Say, why must a foreign country have interest in your country? Okay, the French are saying, they have interest in Africa. What is the interest of Africans in France? The French are saying, they have interest in Niger. What is the interest of Africans in France? More interest. They have interest in your nations. And what interest are they talking about? To put in puppet governments. Government ebebua ama omo rape mo mai. And what do I mean by rape? They'll steal your gold, they'll steal your minerals, they'll destroy your lands and your rivers and water bodies. They don't care. People who are promoting GMO don't care about your survival. People who are promoting Trumu don't care about your survival. Enuti na metre will say Africa for yi se mo pe mo tamfo the Western world minia or mo ne mo tamfo because they keep harboring this colonial mentality. Efrimra on Africa over 500 years ago, efa mo samu ye boa no sa mentality no enko they still harbor the same mentality. Give the Western world 100 years, they'll never change. Give the Western world 200 years, they'll never change. They'll keep having the same slave mentality. Say, go out there and conquer. Every other nation must be our slave. This is the problem here we are having. And the problem is not about the military taking over power in Africa. The problem is yempeni for nankasano. And thereby they are almost yet to make sure say the military they don't do that. Is number one, by not being purpose. Number two, by seeing to the needs of your people. Eko fado ba ye or shemobo, for example. Say obano, one village, one da, one district, one factory, one day, oba ye foko chrono kesiye na obo. Nempani for area millions of dollars and putting under their bed on car honshe. Etienne, for example, say Ghana for sorry say. Enough is enough. Yempe Ekufuado biemua. Are you going to call that military takeover? That would be democracy. Because the power belongs to the people, and the people have every right to take the power at any time that they want, provided say, oh sa penina, obudi 2 minutes share wonsano. You are not doing the things sa ebuama omusumpunto konkai. Eno na AC o Burkina, eno na AC o Niger, eno na AC o Mali, Guinea, Munia Day. The people are waking up. When they woke up, so they see, why were they not burning the Russian embassy, but they were burning the French embassy? It tells you, say, they know who their enemy is. Their enemy is France. I don't know why a country which is over thousands of miles away should have military bases scattered in Africa. For what reason? Africa is not at war. Africa is not fighting anybody. And for Africa, we have no nuclear weapons. So I see no reason why the Western world be having their military bases and whatever in Africa. Muni tokwa, muni nuclear weapons. Africa has no weapon of mass destruction. What Africans are asking for is basic needs to survive. What do they want? Ediane, Ensupa, Suku. Africans want just the basic things of life. Of course, they are rich. There are minerals in your soil. There are minerals in your land. There are minerals scattered everywhere. You guys have fertile lands and everything. Which Senkasebio and yet the influence of the Western world. And Abua, Ama Africa, Aya poor. Like Africa should have been one of the best places to live. Because muni weather problem, muni earthquake, muni tornado, muni typhoon. So why are you poor? You are poor because the Western world always install puppet governments to do their bidding and not your bidding. That is why they have military bases everywhere, so that if you are the president and you fail to listen to them, you fail to be their puppet, you fail to do their bidding, they have their army already stationed in your country to topple your government. This is what they have been doing over the years. Yeah, that's how they now on social media. Now social comments be now TNSMua black people be no more count. Me say most of you are brainwashed to the core. Because the Amuni Mwani BBC, CNN, Muni at the Al Jazeera. These guys tell you half truth. We mon omo kan crunch rewu. Sa CNN, BBC ni wa na mo sorry amuti omo no. Omo kan no kran na kasa nkyeremu. They tell you half truth. But no credit ni say, of course, the Western world has a role to play. Omuna etu kwame nkroma de so. Penny bia obe sorry say opese Africa for mudi ye bia no. The Western world for na etu sa penny no. Mo aya ye kasa monti ase no. China for Emma Africa en conquer Africa for da empo. Na no ye Africa for e sha ase ne China for nyankita ho no. Ye hu enuma China for eye in Africa. Today, most of your bridges are being built by Chinese in Africa. Montrame, Musha French for, any America for, UK for, and yene. A dear bad how many businesses in Ghana are owned by the French people, the Americans, and the British? How many of them? But today, the Chinese are having so many businesses. They are trading with you people, and they are giving your government loans on daily basis. They are helping you economically, military-wise, and in everything. They are building you interchanges. They are building you roads. They are building you schools, dams, power grids, railway stations, hospitals, and what have you. Maybe some will say, Nanu ya na money China for sha se din kita ho, but mo hu nyuma China for a year in Africa. Mon chame, mo sha se ne a French for enanti ye enye ne. What has the French been able to do for you? Emra moje fa hu die every French for nsem. Everything they did for you, they destroyed them before leaving Africa. And for Côte d'Ivoire, for a very long time, their parliament, they were paying rent to France. French for say, Omona esi sa dine untino. Say, Côte d'Ivoire are buying a use a dino to serve as their parliament there. They must pay rent to France. Obutria rent, you know, try, sa, bagbo, eba na or stop a sa dieno, and no kahubina, omidi two a ye, bagbo, adiesono. And Alassane Ouattara, Watnaso, for how many years in Ogusu ran it? When you be wa broom so but Ogusu ran it because of the support of France and the West, because Alassane Ouattara no or your puppeta, he does their bidding. The Chinese have helped us in China for Africa for this few years, Africa for shots and China for Dinkita Hono. May show more China for Diabu Africa, you not believe it. Because Chinese don't believe in conquering, they believe in equal cooperation. Let us all sit at the table and talk like equals. The Russians have the same ideology. That is why the Russians never colonized Africa. They never took anyone captive. But the Russians have been powerful for a very long time. They had the old Russian Empire, the Soviet Union. They could have conquered any nation of their choice. But when they sat at the Berlin conference, sharing Africa among themselves, oh, this one is called Ghana, go and take. Oh, this one is called Zimbabwe, take. This one is called Niger area, Nigeria, Niger area, a Jimmy 4 area, Niger area, and a bad Nigeria, Niger area. Monkofa, oh, Niger area, and Sunye, oh, Côte d'Ivoire, oh, when they were sharing Africa among themselves at the Berlin conference, Russia wasn't part of it. And Russia never approved of it. And look at who Bintina. The Western world and Russia, they never see eye to eye because Russia was against colonizing Africa. International say, Russia is your friend there. Don't doubt me. Say, Russia has always been a friend of Africa. Russia fought about South Africa for them to get out of apartheid times. And Russia fought about when they were sharing Africa among themselves, Russia disagreed. Because the Russians saw you guys as humans. They saw you as equals. They saw you guys as a nipa. But the Western world, you know, they saw you guys as a mua. They saw you guys as inferior. So go and conquer them. When we are Jimmy for, when we are mua, when we nim nyansa, go and steal their resources, go and take them captives, bring them here to build our railways, to build our tunnels, and to do dirty job for us. But so many years along the line, ask yourself, has the African been able to re-educate themselves? Today we are happy slaves. Today we are so happy living in the Western world. Today we are so happy serving them because we don't even know your history. You guys have been miseducated and misinformed. Ask me this question. Say, we are saying now, Russia was more powerful before even US became powerful. Russia was Russia before US became US. Why didn't Russians colonize Africans? Why didn't Russians come to Africa to take you captives? Because they saw you as humans. Because they have every resource that they want. Russia doesn't lack anything. Eba fangua, Russia phobi, eba nsasia, eba grainsa, eba ensua, eba mineralsa. The Russians have everything, so they don't need your resources in Africa. But the French, the Germans, the Americans, the British, so therefore, they want your resources. Oh, the enemy say UK, and I say Britain, they are not a gold producing country, but they have one of the largest gold piles in the world. So gold on every hand, or my amun to gold. Now some more gold stock. So gold on every hand, every Africa, utum form semi free. The African is brainwashed. The African doesn't know who he is. The African is a happy slave. And while those in Niger are calling for the exit of the French troops, some Africans are here saying, why must you sack the Western world? They must sack the Western world because the Western world, they've got no good plans for Africa. Me say, Opa Masam call 40,000 years, almost yes, Africa da. As foolish as some of you are, ye kasa, and brofono ba, almost is uku at 9, almost see railway lines, sa railway line now, bro, nisima on OCSA, or the real ko, what good dear, every encrasia at the aquani crum. When see what Ukrom say, OC at the abuao. So look at most of the colonial railway lines. They were going to the villages, locomotive those days, to go and steal your cocoa, to go and steal your gold. They were going to the mining areas. So they came to build those things as a way to transport your minerals to their nations. The same way they build the castles. So today, what is going on in Niger, in Burkina, and all these nations, is a wake-up call to Akufo-Addo and the rest of the leaders say, if you fail to see to the needs of the people, you can never ever stop any revolution. You cannot stop it. Because you see, you can kill 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but you cannot kill 1 million people. You cannot kill their spirit. You cannot kill their mindset. That is why that's the mistake that the French made, and today they have another Thomas Sankara in the image of Ibrahim Traoré. Today, that guy in Burkina is more popular than Empo Akufo-Addo. And Empo Akufo-Addo Moja, and see how many people will go to that function. But when the guy came back from Russia, multitudes flocked to the airport to give him a gargantua welcome. It tells you, say, this is democracy and the people know what they want. Yakasa, Mosiai, can't say, so that bind ye, Yahubida, and I'm why Africa dear, Adia Bakwa, Betini, Abu Africa, and democracy. It is so that bind ye, China, and yet democratic nation. China, and yet China, they don't have elections. They sit down to elect their leaders. So most Chinese have never ever seen what we call voting. But today, China is a great power. When the culture will say democracy na ebetimi SCC Africa, democracy only end up bringing and kwasiafo. Because so did a democracy ekoma or maya or mere tribal or maya illiteracy yes so high. Or maya or mere ignoranta, or maya or Montesa democracy nasi, or maya sabi you do na sabi ente amando semwase, or maya do na a jimia. What do you think will happen? Abribiano, there will be an effect. Some call for no, they'll end up electing and quasi leaders because they were not even ready for that democracy. And yet Ghana said democracy. Murefi in 2020, Akufo-Addo and Winnie. Kennedy and Japan, Eba Bonte say, send him penifoni Jimia, or better Kwanya, almost if I saw, or Winnie 2020 Abano. It also clearly say in 2020, Akufo-Addo, NP before and Winnie. Now so Omu Yusu Kwati Kwaibi. Is that what you call democracy? 2020, about to know how many Ghanaians lost their lives. Is that what you call democracy? The Western leaders know they'll keep preaching and promoting anything that suits their interest. They don't care about your interest. The Western world do not menye omo adamfo. Because I know them. Yes, if you want to know your enemy, first of all, get to know the enemy of your parents. Because the person who killed your father and mother will never ever see you live. Or make sure you live. And sit there. Niana onpo mami asem. Niana onpo father asem. Will always make sure say wo nebano. Unya abrabwa esefata da. Agbesiba so say, can you imagine Russia is at war front at the same time helping Africans to liberate themselves? What a country. Ibrahim, Basil. Ma omuntia say Russia and Tokana Okono. Russia is fighting over 30 nations. Make Russia for once a much. Some of you yana just mujimi muntia se. Russia is fighting over 30 countries at the same time helping Africans to liberate themselves. It tells you how powerful Russia is. America, I make believe. Adia ama ufri say America is the strongest nation on earth. Brainwash because they control the media. The same system now, and MRJ say Ekufuado and the NPP are better than the NDC. Brainwash because they control the media. America can only confront weaker nations and not strong nations. It may want to say Russia and Iraq. America for Iraq, Ebola Libya, Ebola Yemen, Ebola Vietnam, destroying their nations. May want to say Russia and Iraq, Russia and Yemen, Russia and Afghanistan. It is America for that is why America needs a military alliance to survive. Because America will collapse. They don't have the military capability. Make a chill. Forget about their huge budget. Ebasa yanko 101 now. America ain't me Russia. That is why Russia doesn't need any military alliance, but America needs it because they are weak. That is why they want NATO to exist at all costs because we are weak. Without NATO, America is a nobody. Even with all their NATO, what they shame and talk na America for Korea or Mwini and talk about almost Vietnam. Almost 1 million American soldiers. They could not defeat common rice farmers in Vietnam who were holding only pump passion AK-47. They could not conquer them. Thank you for the stars. Hati Anafu, thank you so much for the stars. Mo send stars no medamasi bebre. Thank you so much for the stars medamasi. Why? Thank you so much. Hati Anafu, thank you for the stars medasi. Mo nkoso na mo send stars na mo fan support this program. Medamu namase. America for spending over 20 years in Afghanistan. At the end of the day, what became of the outcome? They fled the country, leaving their weapons behind. Entino, media, tro, jandam, and I believe say America is strong. Mary Thelma, thank you so much for the stars. Mary Thelma, medasi be for the stars. Thank you so much. I really appreciate the stars. Medasi be media, and I say America is the strongest nation on earth. Media, and they have the biggest budget, and at the end they encash. The same way Ghana, more areas but you are poor. So the biggest budget doesn't necessarily transcend to having a very strong military power. There be because sa budget, most of them are even ending up into people's bank accounts. Because I mentioned say America is one of the most corrupt nations on earth. America and the Western world, they are very corrupt. But the difference, they say, their level of air corruption is different from that of Africa. For example, Mamenfa Ebia making Amuna Naramua. Ebia Yam Odia, for example, Mamenfa say, oh yeah, America. And I mention me Ghana. Ye na ye cromfo. Oh yeah, America, I mention me Ghana. But and so ya edame no ntem ne say me de no me wia bode me wia banche me wia kodu ani ade me wia enioman ketenkete eno ne Africa corruption no ena o de ne say o de o rob banks me no me enu nyina no ya cromfo but we are not the same because we know you rob banks me no de me rob bode ne banche ne mponche ni ade enti America and the Western world, they are corrupt. But almost high level, high profile corruption. Because to go to a different continent, to go and use your military, overthrow their government, and plunge that nation into chaos, just to feed your military industrial complex, what will you call that? Is that a corruption? What they did in Libya, corruption. Say, Gaddafi is not bowing to your nation. So therefore, go there and kill over 10,000 people, over 100,000 people, just because you want a single one, just one person, one single person. You destroyed a whole country. What will you call that? Is that not corruption? Just because you want to steal their oil and you want your people to have the best of life. You don't care killing over millions of people. What are you going to call that? Is that not corruption? Is that not corruption? Is that a corruption? Yes, sorry. In Africa, is corrupt. Me say the level of corruption in Africa is between one person to the other. America from government level, or me wicked, or me more corrupt than even Africa. Because me say they don't care whether you die. As long as they get your oil and they get your resources, they don't care whether you live or you die. These the people you ask you are here saying say they are coming to Africa to help you. These the people, they don't care whether you live or you die. They don't care. All they care is about your minerals, your lands, your resources, your oil. That is all they care about. Adebakwa etada da money say and America for my visa and America for years masa mamenka no crying chiro say America for and the Western world, Jainia or Moya in Africa. Emma Africa for Modemohon, Naka Mosumutmi, Yusuma Jane, any Munyansa, Edisiesi Mukra. Nkagana ni bia ni wa obetu kwan Africa na se okọ abrochiri akoye adwuma. Because ede ba ade na US for wo, ede ba ade na UK for wo Ghana for ni bi. O de wa ka kire me. Ede ba ade mo asase no eye chen America for asase. Mo minerals no eye chen America for minerals. Mo weather no eye chen America for weather. Bibia ni wa muntimi bia o Ghana. And yet Ghana say ena grains, ena Ukraine, ena den, ena we need their grains. O de me be some say mo Ghana fa mo hwe me. How many of you have seen wheat before? Isaac Obeng, Ukraine, Matthias here, they are the one of the leading grain producers. Eba wheat ni adia. Omo no mo say, omo supply de boy we ase. Ediane bay na Ghana for nya free Ukraine for. Ediane bay na Africa for nya free Ukraine for. How many of you have seen wheat before? Wheat. How many of you have seen some before with your naked eyes? Sa grains na omoka ho asem no ema Africa ekọ Europe. Ukraine is the one feeding Europe and not Africa, because Ukraine can never ever feed Africa. America can never ever feed Africa. Edieba ade ena sabi America for ebe yusu edie feed Africa edien ebega McDonald's edieba duane yen Ghana ha ni aye party banku etel emutu ofufuo ni sa me mani nanso no we get them from right here in Ghana. Banche yetimi dua ebro yetimi dua menkani yetimi dua bode yetimi dua bibiara eti omanya yensa ase ye yenso ye yetimi dua yankasa ye nuane ayepe enye jimia. How can you tell me say America for na Emma Ghana for aduane, Ukraine for na Emma Ghana for, whilst you and I don't consume wheat? Go to Kantamanto, unya wheat in to wheat no way or Ghana. Ye di wheat, udi banku kokonte, yenfa wheat in ye de bro. Fufu amudie no, yenfa wheat in ye mesi ye de banchi ne banchi ne ye enye wheat. Munia ni amudi Ghana no ye de banchi ni abro ni wan enye wheat ni de ye. If they are talking about grains and they say the thing in such a way as if say without Ukraine no Africans are hungry. And a UN for Bekasa and Africa to help Africa send the grains to Africa to the massa ye ni Ukraine for diane because minia nyabete hey enye wheat enye mediane mediane banku so de a bronya de ye enye wheat. So the miseducation in the media, the mainstream media and on social media no are brainwashing the African to believe we say without the Western world no Africa can never ever be on their own. If we are say adiba akwa Africa here to stand on their own is agriculture. Agriculture and Africa here to stand on their own. Opa yenyai ema brofono and control the tech world. Omunko space in here the Africa space what ye bia manchi. Uko space a ede nwaye. Ye bia bro space. Ye bia emo space. Uko space a ede nwaye. Today you can live without internet. You can live without a telephone. You can live without even car, but you cannot live without food. Edisenka Africa phone in Yansan ye pa yenyai ema brofo no control space ni hwan na ye so ye control aduane. Iti omo air control space no na ye so ye control aduane se won so no se wa ma ye internet aye so ye ma aduane ni na ka ye hwe which one of these people would have controlled the other. Meme wo aduane wo phone me no mienu hwan na ne ho ode ne owo aduane no ho ode chen ya okra phone. Nature so ye yadom, ye ni tornado, ye ni typhoon, ye ni earthquake, ye ni she, ya sa se no so ye a DNT, and a yen teaming go into agriculture. And no na Mahama eka huasemone say, you prefer to go into agriculture no obebua amasem kokwa ubenya ebuo no ayen kokwa no aye say ye di Mahama atemo say Mahama ni munyasa say okasa asem no. But eno bia na a champion mreso oye no a champion mreso oye ne say operation feed yourself na edien na ye agriculture eno bi na John Dramani Mahama eka no but John Dramani Mahama no onye twini entia na ne kasa no bi oho a wan hwe ya you might think say o kan boasem but e bia na o make a good point but it sound say onye twini nti ontime nka ne ye e ma ne nto asom and Ghana go and ask. Most of the things are Ghana aircraft free abrochire no bebre na ye duane eye mo ni ade. But sa mo na ye ka ho asem no Ghana ha ye betimi adua mo wo Ghana. That is why I love John Dumelo. Enunti na me do John Dumelo. John Dumelo e yusu na dwen ni nyansa. He has gone into agriculture. It's about time the African begin to re-educate your mindset to in Africa ha ema brofo no nkoso na ada yen. Africa needs Russia and Russia needs Africa. Africa must become part of BRICS because me say hey America is collapsing whether you like it or not. No empire will be at the apex forever. Go back to history. Go and check the Russian Empire, the Roman Empire, the Persian Empire. They all went up and they came down. The same thing applies to the American Empire. The American hegemon will never ever be on top forever. Oh boy, this is the law of nature. Whatever goes up must come down. America eba from umpo. We are now venturing into a multipolar world where one nation can never ever be the lord of the world. America eba from Europe eba from Asia, Russia, China, the BRICS nations are the future. In Africa, no say ni nyansa. Sambre nanko say we align ourselves with the BRICS. South Africa for ni nyansa, they have aligned themselves with the BRICS. What is Ghana waiting for? Ghana prefer to be a puppet nation, licking the feet of the Western world. Rather than to become self-reliant and independent, Ghana prefers to be at the mercy of the West. That is why your president can run to Washington to report Russia to the US people. Because Ghana is a puppet nation. That is why your president can light up the seat of government in rainbow colors just to please America, because Ghana is a puppet nation. Almost say Ghana, you're non-allied. Ghana is allied. Ghana has aligned itself with the failing world, the failing Western world. They are failing in everything. About marriage, they are failing. About culture, they are failing. About morals, they are failing. About emiania, they are failing. About medicines, military, virtues, and whatever, they are failing in everything. So they go to America. Divorce is so high. Everybody they marry today, they break up tomorrow. Their marriage system is collapsing. Their sexual life is collapsing. Today, if you see the American, you don't even know who they are. Whether transgender, whether you're gay, whether you're lesbian, whether you're Q, or you're D, you don't even know. They are consuming genetically modified. They are failing. In America and the West, they are failing in every aspect of life. And on the karma, what they did to Africans years ago is now hitting back at them. They will surely reap whatever they sowed in Africa. I swear before God and man. Abrofono. They will surely reap whatever they did to Africa and the world. That is what is playing before our very eyes. Europe is collapsing. Right now, there is inflation in Europe. When they were sanctioning Russia, they thought that they were doing something big. But today, I'm happy to tell you, say, Russia is now the biggest economy in Europe because of the sanctions. Russia, Germany, and now say, Russia is the biggest economy now in Europe. Everything they do backfires. They are losing it, and they'll never ever be on top forever. And Ultimatum will say, the next world is facing Asia. Ghana must face the East. If we want to survive, Ghana must begin to align itself with the BRICS nations, Brazil, Russia, India, China, South Africa. These are the emerging nations that Ghana must align itself with. America hegemon is collapsing. The British are going down. Europe is on a decline. The GDP of UK is shrinking. The GDP of Germany is shrinking. The GDP of France is shrinking. What they are doing are the last kicks of a dying horse. What they are doing, having military bases everywhere and threatening to use nuclear weapons and whatever, are the last kicks of a dying horse, because about nuclear weapons, what the Western world is having, Russia is having more than that. In 1961, Russia for tested a child bomber, a free war, and America for tested nuclear weapon beam. Because some nuclear weapon now, Russia for tested yet a been serious that. And that was so many years ago. So just imagine how many weapons Russia is having today. It's will be now that will say Russia is weak. Russia is never ever weak and has never been weak. That is why Africa needs Russia, Africa needs China. We must begin to align ourselves with with China, Russia, and the East, the BRICS. Because these guys are the future. Geopolitics, I say. We must understand and say everything is all about survival. The Western world, they are so busy in Ukraine. This is the time for Africa to liberate ourselves from their grips. That is why France doesn't know what to do, because they are already tied up in Ukraine. They don't have enough manpower. They don't have enough ammunition to fight in Africa. This is the time for us to liberate ourselves with the help of Russia. American movie. One show you how say. What say America is the most powerful nation on earth. On paper, But in reality, America can only go to war with small nations. And no crown, they don't win. They promise you democracy. They promise the people of Libya democracy. Today, go and see the kind of democracy Americans gave to Libya. Go to Libya and see for yourself. In the days of Muammar Gaddafi, Libya was one of the best nations. Even my father wanted to travel to Libya to go and look for money. Ghana for call Libya, and you know. Winifred Azu, thank you so much. Ghana for call Libya, and then now Libya was better than Europe. And the Americans said, Gaddafi is a dictator, Gaddafi is a traitor, Gaddafi is a DND, Gaddafi must go and he must go now. And they went there with their NATO troops. And they went to give the so-called democracy to Libya. Today, look at Libya with the Western democracy. How are they faring? How is Libya? They come in the name of democracy. Every nation, be America for the democracy, that nation becomes chaotic. Nothing works. Because they themselves don't even understand democracy. Because almost democracy is here. And what to make you come out and say, the Niger people are saying, they don't want you in their country. But what they're changing, I will say, you must be in their country. Is this the kind of democracy they are preaching? Is this the kind of democracy they are preaching? Those in Niger are saying, the majority of a nation are saying, a sovereign nation, the majority of the people are saying, they don't want your troops in their country, but you are saying, China, we must be there. So the people who bring you democracy don't even understand what we mean by democracy. They don't practice what they preach. So, Africa must begin to liberate our minds. We must begin to liberate our economies. We must begin to liberate every aspect of our survival. That's the last time in my presentation I told you, if I become the president today, I'll align Ghana with Russia and China more than the Western world. Because I can see into the future what you cannot see. America is declining. The American hegemon control is going down. It is dwindling. Because the days of old are not the days of today. People are waking up and countries are growing their own economies. Whoever thought that North Korea will be a country to reckon with today? Whoever thought? Over 50 years ago, Senka Obikacha will say, North Korea will be a nation to reckon with her. You guys would have said, oh boy. But today, North Korea has become a nation that the West is even afraid of. Whoever said, about 60 years ago, Mrs. Senka Obikacha will say, China will become the second largest economy in the world. You guys would have said, oh boy. But today, look at China. Today, look at China. They are not Democrats. Chinese don't know what is called democracy. They are a communist party country. But today, look at China. Today, you run from your so-called democracy in Africa to go and look for money in China. Communist nation. It tells you, Masa, democracy is not the only system where it may buama or maybe tumpo empo. As a growing nation, if you want to progress, forget about democracy and moi. Because democracy is the rule of sabi and kwasiafua omo doson. Democracy is the rule of a Jimmy 4 in numbers. Yes, Kogana Hano, to get the people to back you, just come out and lie to them, say, media me bano, me yusu abansi car, me nyaketria, me be a factory, media me bano, me yusu convoy, media me say, this is what we call democracy. Come and lie to them and get your way through. Now, so you have been a member of parliament for almost 30 years. V8 bar on our GB. Okrapo na wudi animu and our V8. And now Kennedy, onam, that Ghana for say, should they make you a president? You are not going to use government vehicles. But ask him, say, as a member of parliament, nekasa o chipe bebe nano, enya abayne de na V8 or more channel. Onibi. On kahon. Yeah, na ekoso e o parliament no onka ho bi. Onka ho. Agbasiba will say if America wants to destroy you, they bring you stupid democracy, may that say, because it is only through democracy they can install their puppet governments. Let me tell you something, say, democracy in Africa has never, ever brought out the will of the people. Abribiano, Abrofono, they manipulate your elections and bring whoever they want to lead you. This is neo-colonialism. And no nana kwame nkrumah eka ho asem no say Africa say yentimi anka ye ho amomu a abrofo no ebeye den. Today Ekufuado was brought to you by the West. Ekufuado never won any election in Ghana. Ekufuado was given to you by America and the West. That is why Ekufuado is a puppet. Alassane Ouattara or a puppet, he was given to them by France. Tinubu or a puppet. Go and ask the average Nigerian. They all tell you, say, we never ever voted for a Tinubu. But today, Tinubu is the president. Why? Because the Western world wanted him to be the president so that they can control him and rape Nigeria. Steal their oil, steal their resources. Ask yourself, Nigeria, Esha say, etu fango enye. But for so many years, Nigeria cannot even boast of an oil refinery. But Nigeria is an oil producer, the giant in Africa. And any president be a obeba wadrin say, build the oil refinery in Nigeria for them to refine their own fango biano. The Western world will kill that president. Ombe kuno. Ombe minia. Ombe tuna diaso. Ombe kuno. This is the reason why Africans must liberate themselves from the hands of the Western world. And yes, sir, it will be difficult for Africa to progress. So, what is happening? Niger, Burkina Faso, Mali, and coup d'etat, a democracy. The people are coming out to voice their feelings out. The people are saying, say, enough is enough, and this is democracy. A democracy.
What is the one thing Adiabako Ben Pana Ope Ewo ex-President John Mahama?
The new terminal, the airport.
Terminal 3.
And Rage Hospital. When I was pregnant, I went there. I was so impressed. Really impressed.
Rage Hospital?
Yes.
And at Terminal 3.
Yeah.
Ex-President Mahama. And that's the young man, some man,